Hello, class 11th. Respiratory system in human beings. The respiratory system, also respiratory apparatus, is a biological system consisting of specific organs and structure used for gas exchange in animals and plants. The anatomy and physiology that makes this happen varies greatly depending on the size of the organism. The lungs uses the oxygen and gives out the carbon dioxide during this exchange. In land animals, the respiratory surface is interlaced as lining of the lungs. The respiratory system consists of four parts: anatomy and physiology, gas transport to alveoli, respiration and circulatory system, and how gas exchange works. Includes the respiratory system. The respiratory system is the organs and other parts of your body involved in breathing when you exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. The parts are nose and nasal cavity, sinus, mouth, throat, pharynx, voice box, that is your larynx, windpipe, that is your trachea, diaphragm, a muscular structure, lungs, bronchial tubes, bronchioles, air sacs, that is your alveoli, and capillaries. Breathing starts when you inhale air into your nose or mouth. It travels down the back of your throat and into your windpipe, which is divided into air passages called bronchial tubes. The nasal cavity helps in filtration of the air with the help of the mucous glands and the hair present there. These cilia mucus releases the mucus which stitches with the dust particles and other microorganisms, while the hair helps it in the movement of the air and not only doing the cleaning and the filtration but also helping in warming up of the air. Oral cavity, which is having the mouth present, it's also help in the respiration, but during this process the air is not being filtered, so it is always advisable to take the air through your nose. The air from there passes to the pharynx region, which is having the opening from ear, nasal cavity, mouth, and two openings to the food pipe, that is your esophagus, and the windpipe, that is your trachea. Muscular tube connects the oral and the nasal cavity to form larynx and esophagus. In case of the pharynx, the air has to move towards the windpipe, and this is performed with the help of an opening called the glottis at the junction of or you can say at the start of the trachea or the windpipe. Above that, there is epiglottis is present, which closes the food pipe and allows the movement of the air towards the windpipe, that is trachea. The start of the trachea is having a larynx present there, which is acting as a sound box made up of flaps of muscles. During the exhalation, when the air passes through it, it produces the sound which we call voice. The trachea is made up of C-shaped cartilaginous rings. These C-shaped cartilaginous rings help not only the trachea to avoid the collapsing but also gives a shape or rigid structure to the trachea. Larynx goes to the bronchi, which further divides into the bronchioles. These C-shaped structures help in the making the trachea to expand during excessive inhalation and exhalation, and also avoiding the collapsing. Breathing is the process that brings oxygen in the air into your lungs and moves oxygen and through your body. Our lungs remove the oxygen and pass it to a bloodstream. These bronchia are further divided into two bronchi, which are moving to two different lungs. These bronchi are further divided into branches called the bronchioles. The end of each bronchiole is having air sacs present called alveoli. The bronchial tubes are lined with cilia, very small hairs that have a wave-like motion. This motion carries mucus upward and out into the throat, where it is either coughed up or swallowed. The mucus catches and holds much of the dust, germs, and other unwanted matter that has invaded your lungs. Your lungs get rid of the mucus through coughing. The diaphragm is the strong wall of the muscle that separates your chest cavity from your abdominal cavity. By moving downward, it creates suction to draw in air and expand the lungs. The smallest section of the bronchi are called bronchiole. The alveoli are the very small air sacs that are the destination of air that you breathe in. The capillaries are blood vessels that are embedded in the walls of the alveoli. Blood passes through the capillaries, brought to them by the pulmonary artery and taken away by the pulmonary vein while in the capillaries. The blood moves carbon dioxide into the alveoli and takes up oxygen from the air in the alveoli. The left ventricle is having the pulmonary artery, while the left auricle is having the pulmonary vein coming from the lungs, bringing the oxygenated blood. Through the aorta, this blood passes to all the body tissues, and through vena cava it is being collected back so that it can be purified. So we can say that lungs are the places where the exchange of gases is taking place, that is purification of the blood is taking place, while heart is just a muscular pumping organ which is collecting the deoxygenated blood, passing it to the lungs, and from there the purified blood is passed to the back to the heart and then to other body parts. 5-liter blood is being purified in a minute by these alveoli. The primary function of the respiratory system is to take in oxygen and eliminate carbon dioxide. Inhaled oxygen enters the lungs and reaches the alveoli. The layers of cells lining the alveoli and the surrounding capillaries are each only 1 cell thick and are in very close contact with each other. This barrier between air and blood averages about 1 micron in thickness. Oxygen passes quickly through this air-blood barrier into the blood in the capillaries. Similarly, carbon dioxide passes from the blood into the alveoli and is then exhaled. Oxygenated blood travels from the lungs through the pulmonary veins and into the side of the heart, which pumps the blood to the rest of the body. Oxygen deficient carbon dioxide rich blood returns to the right side of the heart through two large veins, the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. Then the blood is pumped through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, where it picks up oxygen and releases carbon dioxide. Due to the very close proximity and diffusion law, that is, the movement of the substances or the air takes place from high concentration to the low concentration, the oxygen moves from alveoli cells to the blood and the carbon dioxide from blood to the alveoli cell. In case of the alveolar air and the blood, if you make a comparison of the carbon dioxide and oxygen, in the alveolar air, carbon dioxide is low while the blood it is very high. High concentration of oxygen is present in alveolar air in comparison to the blood, because in general the atmospheric carbon dioxide is only 0.003%, while in the atmosphere approximately 21% of oxygen is present, while in case of carbon dioxide it is only 0.003%. Now you have a general view of how it takes place, the exchange of gases in human beings. Try to listen it again and again. Now you are having another video to see how the exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli. You have to see all these videos again and again so that a clear concept will be there in you and you can prepare the notes for it. Just see how thin is the lining and exchange of gases is taking place. The characteristic feature is diffusion of the gases from high concentration to low concentration.